Okay, today I wanted to go over a couple of the, I guess one of the experiences now, and I'll do another video later. But I wanted to talk about exactly what happened in meditation, during meditation, after meditation, that enabled me to, it's going to sound weird, to know other people's minds before I actually knew the person. And it happened with friends as well. It happened with people that I already knew, but and it's a very, I'll have to do my background as well in another video, but for me to come out and say that, you know, I had these experiences which, for lack of a better term, seem like supernatural or otherworldly or of another dimension or something, you know, like that. For me to say these things is my mother, my family, those that have known me for years would be shocked, and they will be when they see these videos. I'll have to send them a link, but the experiences are definitely strange, taken from a reality standpoint that most of us hold, you know, that most of us live our lives according to. So when this started to happen, I had already experienced many jhana levels and strange experiences while meditating. So this was not, at the time, this was not all that out of the ordinary, and I wasn't, you know, all that blown away. If this had been the first thing to happen, if I hadn't been into jhana at all, if I hadn't had some very strange experiences while meditating, and this was the first thing that happened, it would be really, really something, right? But as it was, there were already many things that happened, and I was kind of used to the strangeness of the whole situation, and all of my experiences added up, you know, over time, over the months, kind of acclimated me to the point where, you know, I started to know other people's minds, and I started to, I'll go into it, I guess. So what happened was, I was meditating, Vipassana type style, a real basic meditation, just focusing on the breath at the nose here and the nostrils. And over the course of months, somehow jhana came, somehow jhana 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, went through the jhanas, was in the jhanas many times over the months, virtually every time I sat down to meditate. And I noticed this after a few months, and I can't remember how many it was at the time, and this has been 12 years ago now. But I realized at some point, after coming out of a meditation session that included jhana, and I came out and I was still kind of in the jhana, I was still very peaceful, settled, you know, there was nothing going on in my for emotionally, there was nothing going on. Intellectually, there's very little thought. I was just experiencing the moment pretty much, and that's how I feel when I come out of a fairly deep level jhanas. And I remember being around people at that time, and I didn't speak much, but I remember my mind was very active, very aware. My memory was functioning very well. And I remember having this feeling that I know the person that I'm looking at or that I'm with. And I knew them at a level that I never knew them before. and it was kind of like I was looking like directly into their soul, or directly into their being, you know, like who they were, and what they were, what their motivations were. I got there was an initial feeling about the person immediately, a good feeling, I guess I could say good feeling or a bad feeling, and or a positive and a negative feeling. It's quite strange. I want to think about how to say it to you, so you grasp it as well as possible. So the good feeling and the bad feeling. It didn't register in my mind as the words good and bad. It didn't register as positive, negative. It didn't register as evil or chaste. It didn't, you know, it wasn't like, it wasn't a judgment. I guess I want to say that fits. It wasn't a judgment. It was a knowing, and I'm not sure how many people understand that, and you know, I wouldn't have understood it before I started to meditate. But when you meditate, when you get into jhanas, when you're deep into it, or when it's coming to you on some level, on some strong level, you become aware of knowledge that it's accepted, it's not questioned, it's not something that's based on anything objective that you see with your senses or sense with your senses. It's something that is just there, if that makes any sense at all. And the feeling that's there is unquestionable. It's you know, you wouldn't feel like you should argue with it. You wouldn't feel like it's anything other than the truth. It feels like the truth. And I know that probably sounds strange to me, but that's what happens. So initially, I would meet a person after a jhana session, after a meditation session that had jhana within it, and I would feel like a positive or negative initially. If I spoke with that person, or if that person spoke with me, which was more likely because I wasn't speaking all that well, or all that much at the time. As I listened, the truth began to form around what they were saying, and it was like a laser focus on the truth. You could hear what they're saying, and yet I could hear what they're saying, and yet I felt, or I knew the truth about what they were saying. And there was no judgment again about that, but it was knowing immediately what they're saying is consonant with what is real, with what is true, or it isn't. It was a knowing where their motivations, or it was a knowing about their motivation. You know, was their motivation good or was it bad? Was it pure or was it unpure? Maybe is the best dichotomy to describe it. Is what they're saying in alignment with the truth, or is it not? And it was just a knowing about that. And it was and at the time it wasn't strange at the time, because I'm still like virtually in a jhana, and you know, at that point you're not thinking, but your mind is aware, your mind is alert, You are aware of all the senses. But there is no judger, there's no judging mind at that time, and there's no separation from the person that is with you or that is speaking with you. There is, it feels like you're together with them. You're there entirely. You don't feel. I didn't feel a me. I didn't feel a separation between us. And what they were saying was not judged. If I realized that what they were saying is motivated by jealousy or anger or something else, some other emotion. Though I recognized that, I did not. I understood it. I understood, why they would say it in that way. I understood that they would say it in that way, because the underlying motivation, the underlying drive or thrust that was pushing them to talk about things in this way came from emotion. Oftentimes it was jealousy or the need to make oneself appear bigger or make oneself appear as more, as a better person, or something like that. I don't know if you're understanding this at all. I'm trying to picture myself, before these things happened, and listening to a person, tell me like I'm telling you what happened, and I think I'd be completely lost. I have to try. I have to try. Number one, I guess, to show people that there are some strange things that happen, after meditation or during meditation. Once you get into jhanas, once your mind stops and jhana starts, I would like to show people that there are some very, very strange experiences, and they might have some validity to them. There might be. I honestly, before I started to meditate, I would never say that there might be another dimension to our reality. There might be something. There might be things that we don't understand, but that are true. I've never believed people telling your fortune, or people telling people calling spirits into a room and telling you about about a person that died or something like that. I've never believed that. I've never experienced anything real about that. So, I was never pro that. But when this happened, this was, this is one of the things, right? This was, when I looked back on it from a non-jhana state, this was remarkable. It was otherworldly. It was other dimensional. It was entirely indescribable. I couldn't put that into the reality that I knew before I started to meditate and before I get into jhanas and things. So, trying to think what else to say about it. So that was when it first happened, right? It was when I was meditating. I had jhana, came out of jhana, I was still sort of in it, and was interacting with people, and I noticed it. Noticed this happened. As time went on, and I meditated more, and I spent more time in jhana. This became not just a semi-regular occurrence, but it became an all-the-time thing. It was on 24 hours. It was on whenever I was awake. It was on this ability, or this gift or something. I don't feel like it's an ability that like I earned it or like I did something to get it, but it came, so it's like a gift to me, you know. And do I think I'm special because of it? No, I think I don't have any delusions of grandeur here. I think it can happen to anybody that gets into meditation seriously and puts some effort into it. So this ability, it lasted for a very long time. It lasted for years, literally. Even after I stopped meditating, for years after that. And today, I think it sort of operates, to a light level, nothing like it was. I think I have to actually focus on a person and to get anything at all, to get any sort of feeling at all. And I haven't done that, I'm just not interested in doing it, but it can still happen to some degree, just lightly. And it's more of a knowing, whether or not the person is being honest or being genuine or something like that. Okay, so that is, I think that's all I want to say. I don't know how much more to say or to try to describe what happened. I think because most people will be coming from a different perspective, the perspective of reality, before, same as me before I started to meditate, so I don't think you're going to grasp what I'm saying very much at all. But it might be interesting in a weird way or something. And the next video, where I talk about the divine I, that should be really interesting, and you'll completely think I'm a nut, I think, when I talk about that. But since I'm sitting here and I have some time, I'll do that now. So the next video will be about the divine I, and if you think that this video is revealing, wait until you see that video. That one's going to be quite something for you. Okay, that's all. I guess go, if you haven't looked at the rest of the website, it's called Abhinna.org, Abhinna.org. I also have a journal, sort of a meditative journal at Jhana 8, JHANA 8, the number 8, .com, and those are my two main sites. Since I'll put this on YouTube, I'll also tell you about the book, Meditation for Beginners - a 22-day course. So I created that a couple years ago. It's selling well on Amazon. But that's basically the system that I used. I distilled it from a couple books, basically. It's basically meditation without religion, meditation without Buddhism, meditation without any ism. And it's basically just the physical act of meditation, and that itself was enough to get me to kind of fast track into the jhanas and the strange experiences. Alright, so go see my next video. I think you'll enjoy it even more.